Hello, everyone, and welcome to our show. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jackie.
Today we're going to be doing something a little different. We'll be talking about the issue of stigma against mental illness.
Mental illness is still a big issue, even if most people believe we have solved the major prejudice issues in society. We may have solved some problems, but there are still tons that we need to address. We've solved how we try to treat them, but not how we talk about them.
That being said, why is it like this? Where do we get our preconceived notions about what mentally ill people are like? Well, it's just how we learn everything in this day and age, through media.
If media is the only way you've ever been exposed to information about mental illnesses, you've probably never noticed how inaccurate and even disrespectful the media portrays them. As a result, you start to believe these portrayals to be fact, but the truth is, the entertainment you love has been feeding you misinformation all your life.
Some common victims of stigma caused by media are schizophrenia, dissociative identity disorder, and bipolar disorder. However, even fairly common illnesses like anxiety, depression, and ADHD get misrepresented.
Fight Club is just one of the popular movies which uses a main character's mental illness as a deep metaphorical plot device. Many have diagnosed its protagonist with dissociative identity disorder, though if that's the case, it's not very accurate.
DID is one of the more commonly misportrayed, and a lot of movies centering around it can sum up two of the most major issues when it comes to misrepresenting mental illnesses in media.
The first is making the mentally ill seem violent, and using their illness as an accessory for horror movie villains. For example, the recent M. Night Shyamalan film Split. Movies that use a mental illness as part of the horror aspect demonize the real people suffering from these illnesses and add on to the stigma. Another illness commonly used in horror is schizophrenia. Though this can be scary for the person affected to experience, it still does not help those diagnosed much when inaccurate depictions of their illness are used just for the thrill.
The other is making a mental illness over-exaggerated and silly, which is done with DID in Me, Myself, and Irene. When mental illnesses are used for comedy, it takes away from them being a serious real-life issue. Other illnesses that are frequently used as a joke are OCD and ADD or ADHD. A show that uses OCD as a punchline is Monk. In the show, Adrian Monk is a man with OCD that is often held back by his mental illness, which is normal, but his therapist tells him he shouldn't care about it instead of trying to help him.
70% of people's perception about mental illnesses come from TV and movies, so changing the way they're portrayed is an important part of stopping the negative stigma.
That's why we and other creators have a responsibility to stop this stigma, whether we want that responsibility or not.